we're giving away $127 for who knows what 3 buildings fell on 9/11. Nobody cares, huh? On to the next purchase. Who needs another pair of jeans? Who cares about rights and liberties or freedom? Again, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 127. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell on 9/11. That's not an accident, you guys. Look into the secret societies in D.C. The Jesuits have been there longer than the federal government, and it's known as the Masonic City. What is etched on the Masonic Temple in D.C.? What is etched is it says, all is number. All is number. 911, what a day for a national emergency, right? 911, what a day for a national emergency. Did you know that in 1968, World Trade Center construction began and 911 was made the national emergency dialing code?
That's Gematria.
Shout out to all the truth seekers. In 1968, the year George W. Bush also graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. The year 2001, A Space Odyssey came out. The year Muhammad Atta was born, supposedly the lead hijacker. Remember how they found the terrorist passports right away after 9/11, but they couldn't even find the plane? This was a story for suckers, you guys. The people who roll over us think we are the walking dead, a society of sheep, a society of gullible people who will believe anything.
Our goal is to find a few people who care, by the way. You guys can just keep on walking, but we're sitting here at the truth.
Again, you guys, September 11th, we need to get justice for this day. So many people have died over the lies of 9/11. Our tax dollars have been stolen. A surveillance state has been put in place. We've been made to be humiliated in the airport, taking off our belts and our shoes like we're some kind of terrorists. Again, the terrorists are the government. Look up the original definition of terrorism. It is government by intimidation. That is the original definition of terrorism. Government by intimidation. Again, you guys, 9/11, 33 years earlier, 1968, World Trade Center construction began, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. And adding to the list of coincidences, which they are not, the same day Governor Dewey had his first meeting for the World Trade Center to be built was the exact same day that George W. Bush was born. Who remembers the ritual of George W. Bush becoming the illegitimate leader of the nation? Who remembers that George W. Bush became the 43rd president in the state where his brother was the 43rd governor and his daddy was the 43rd vice president? You must learn Gematria to understand why they do these numerical rituals. It's as simple as A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z, the 26th letter is 26. Yale, Y is the 25th letter, A is the 1st, L is the 12th, E is the 5th. Added up, Yale equals 43. Who was in Yale, Skull and Bones? Not just the 2 Bushes that were president, but also John Kerry, who planned to lose against Strand in 2004. And RIP to Tim Russert, who asked Bush and Kerry on Meet the Press, what are the odds that the 2 frontrunners for the leader of the nation are from an exclusive secret society that only allows 15 members per year? What are the odds of such a thing? Did you have an answer to that question? Again, the question is it a coincidence that in 2004, Bush and Kerry were both members of Yale, Skull and Bones and the front runner for president when it only allows 15 members per year? And as we were just explaining, Bush became number 43, his daddy was the 43rd vice president, and his brother Jeff was the 43rd governor of Florida. Why does that matter? Again, you must learn the secret knowledge that these societies use. They've been putting it on Jeopardy recently. The secret code is called Gematria. It's A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. It comes from Hebrew. It comes from Aramaic. It comes from ancient Greek. Revelation 13:18 is a Greek isopsel by an house number 46 on 20/1. It was Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, the Jesuit priest, the head of Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university that's been in DC for longer than the feds. Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan in Gematria equals 201, as does Jorge Mario Bergoglio, as does Ignatius Loyola, the founder. coincidence a national emergency on 911? Is it a coincidence that Corona means crown and the Queen just died 911 days after the pandemic was declared? And like I said, learn Gematria. You'll find out who rules this nation. It's that Catholic Church right there. A lot of people forgot our history. America was founded by the people of the Protestant Reformation who wanted to escape the tyranny of the Catholic Church. Honestly, you guys, I would almost say being Catholic is un-American. I know some of you are good people, but Catholicism is what ruled Europe and what caused people to flee that nation to come over here. Well, guess what? The Catholic Church founded the Jesuits to counter the 95 Theses, and they recognized the Jesuits on September 27th. They only had 95 days left in the year. Again, Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. Not an accident that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the 95th day of 1968, a year to the day of his speech, A Time to Break Silence. Martin Luther King Jr., if you know that name, look up his speech. You've never heard it because they shut it in school. They don't teach you his greatest speech in state school. It's called A Time to Break Silence Beyond Vietnam. He says as long as this nation's a military-industrial complex, we will forever be plagued with hate, racism, division. He said society will continue to crumble. And look at us. Look at how we're declining. You guys think we're afraid? Who here thinks we're afraid? Nobody cares if we're not free, do we? I remember when I was a kid, they'd always teach us in slave school. You're so lucky to be American, you're free over here. There's no propaganda on the news. If you lived in Russia, it would be non-stop propaganda. How many of you still believe those lies? It's sad that we become a society of people who just walk past the truth. We don't care about the truth. We don't have any courage to stand up for the truth. We really should write a new national anthem. The national anthem should be the land of the enslaved, the land of the cowards. I hate to say that, but it's true. Shout out to Lincoln.
All of this fuckery reminds us of the unfathomable war that is being waged against humanity, our minds, bodies, and spirits, and they insane and state of independent thought. You are being
off the odds that Bush gave a famous speech of a new world order free of terrorism. Exactly 11 years to the day that Flight AA-11 crashed in New York, the 11th state. On the 11th day, into the buildings portrayed as a massive 11. Truth of 9/11 incoming.
Good day, truth seekers of New York. Traveled out here from Seattle, Washington. I am an author myself. My book's been banned all over the place against too much truth. It's that quote from the 90s with Jack Nicholson. Some people can't handle it. But for all of you who forgot, 21 years ago today, the day before September 11th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld gave a speech to the nation, and he said the government had made a huge mistake. Somehow it had lost $2.3 trillion of our taxpayer money. If you're not aware of this, please look it up. Donald Rumsfeld admitted that the U.S. government lost $2.3 trillion with a T. That's 2.3 billion times 1,000. Imagine that. How do you lose $2.3 trillion? And if you go back and listen to what Donald Rumsfeld said, he said the Pentagon has to drastically reduce its budget. It needs to become completely transparent so that this can never happen again. That was in the New York Times the morning of September 11th. Well, we all know what happened after that paper was printed. The towers came down. How many of you realized that 11 years to the day of the World Trade Center's falling, George Herbert Walker Bush gave a speech to the nation. And in that speech, he talked about a new world order, a world freer of terror. Keep in mind the original definition of terrorism is government by intimidation. But 11 years to the day of his speech, of course his son was president when 9/11 happened, the buildings that looked like an 11 came crumbling down in the 11th state, New York, on the 11th day of the month. And they said the first flight that hit the towers was flight AA-11. The buildings were 110 stories tall, 110. In numerology, 11 is the master number, and I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened, and I didn't know a thing about numerology until I started to look into what seemed to be an obvious lie to me. And I knew there was something going on with numbers, because what are the odds? A national emergency on 911, and something I had just noticed before 9/11 happened is that Bush became the 43rd president. His brother was the 43rd governor of Florida, and his daddy was the 43rd vice president. And for the longest time I wondered, what are the odds of that? Founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola. I would be the 9th letter, G would be the 7th, and the 14th, so on. Ignatius of Loyola adds up to 201. If you write out Jorge Mario Bergoglio, that's the name of Pope Francis, that's his birth name. It adds up to 201. Again, he's the first Pope to live in Suite 201. The last French Pope, the Jesuits were created in France. Again, Pope Francis. The Jesuits were created August 15th, 1534. R.I.P. to Donald Trump's brother, Robert, who died on August 15th. Of course, the year after that, Afghanistan's government fell on August 15th. We once got off the gold standard on August 15th. Big day in history. Japan surrendered in World War II on August 15th. You start paying attention to dates in history and the Jesuit order, you will realize who's running this nation. Again, there were 2 towers that became 0, that became 1.
I love it.
It's not arbitrary, just like it's not arbitrary that Event 201 was the coronavirus pandemic simulation, and again the Queen is dead 201 days after. The original definition of ground zero is the point above or below ground that an atomic, hydrogen, or nuclear bomb explodes. Ground zero happens to equal 127, like buildings 1, 2, and 7. And I could go on all day about all of it, you guys, because there's so much more to this. But understand, this has been going on since before any of us were alive, and it's going to continue to go on until we stand up to our government. And I want you to remember an old phrase. I didn't come up with this, and I know you heard it somewhere before, but maybe you forgot. Governments are supposed to fear their people, not the other way around. You guys, you have to stop consenting to the lies. You got to take off that. You got to stop going to being a guinea pig for. All of us young people are fine. It's 99.9%. And let you go to the hospital and get on a. And by the way, look at a lot of the hospitals, you guys, it'll blow your mind. There's a big fat 201 on the machine, and it's not an accident that those were produced by Donald Trump, the Jesuit. You know what? I gotta tell you guys one more thing, because some of you guys are divided amongst Trump and Biden. I want you to understand they're all in the same club. In 1972, when Biden became senator, his wife and daughter died in a car crash just days later. They died on Limestone Road. Guess what Limestone Road equals? It equals 201. Then when he was 72 years old, his son Beau Biden died at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And again, the same Jesuit priest who did Beau Biden's funeral at 46 did the inauguration of Biden on 20/1 is number 46 one. And then of course number 2, Junior Shrub, he was number 43. And he won the election in Florida where his brother Elgin Baylor, who was Jesuit educated, and by the way, he died at age 86. Baylor ended up in the industry. She knows how bad stuff it is. But you guys who got jacked, if you ask to see the ingredients, what they show you? They show you a white label with nothing on it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? And don't ever forget what Bill Gates said in 2010. We got to reduce the population, and we can do it if we do a good job with. And if you think I'm misquoting him,
51 years later, knew that a third tower fell. And you know, it's pretty interesting, right? Because you have the planes going into Tower 1. Also on the internet, they just fucking delete you. I've been deleted, he's been deleted, this motherfucker been deleted, we all been deleted. And then when we come out in the real world and try to talk some shit to y'all, y'all are trying to censor us too. I have faith in people. In this city right now, there's hundreds of thousands of people from around the world. There's millions in New York City. People from New York City right here, right now. I remember a few years ago in the NBA when the 2 worst teams were playing, and do you think they started discerning anything in the peer-reviewed journals? Did you think they started checking shit like science should? No, they didn't. They just signed off on it. I'm all for science. I'm for the scientific method. But I'm not for government-funded science. I'm not for giant corporated-funded science. I'm for thinking for yourself. And the only way we're going to get out of this mess is if we start thinking for ourselves. The reason we're in this problem is because listening to what Tucker Maddow says and what the government says. So I'll leave you with this. Think for yourself, be nonviolent, use the Socratic method. Actors, war criminals, and giant corporations lie to you any longer. Think for yourself, find GematriaEffectNews, hashtag #YeahRightTheMatrix. Find hashtag #YeahRightTheMatrix everywhere. And I'm inviting you guys and actually imploring you guys to join us tomorrow morning and throughout the day at Ground Zero. We're going to be polite, we're going to be nonviolent, and we're going to be asking the questions and discussing information that unfortunately Tucker Maddow will never cover. So do your own research. Google Building 7, World Trade Center 7. Google World Trade Center 7. Most people don't know a third tower fell that day, but it did, and it was never hit by a plane. Explain that shit. I've been going at this for 15 years. Ain't nobody explain that shit to me. So once that happens, I'll stop. But like I said earlier, wrapping this up, the war on terror, all these people did, from our service members to people in the Middle East, is predicated on the lie of 9/11. The Patriot Act, where the government can spy on everything, where the government can just turn your laptop camera on and look at my nipples. I'm not comfortable with that. So if you want to stop the government spying, if you want to stop the 33 trillion in debt, if you want to have the people who their family members, the victims' family members, get some justice, and you want to end war, you have to start getting 9/11 truth and questioning that and thinking for yourself. Tomorrow, Ground Zero, come join us. Hashtag GematriaEffectNews on YouTube. I want another question, guys. Who are the most famous people from Staten Island? Anybody? Yes! Some idiot was trying to say it was Pete Davidson. It's motherfucking Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is for the children, bitch! Fuck Pete Davidson. So things have been pretty rough with my dad lately. You know,
School pledging to the 13 stripes, talking about us being the land of the free, the home of the brave. There's no way we've earned that title with our generation, and we can do something different about that. We need to stand up for our rights and liberties, and we need to stop complying with the lies, you guys. There's a reason they call it the tell-a-vision. They're constantly telling us what to think and believe, and it's mostly beliefs. It's mostly beliefs. All of a sudden we believe the science is you need one mask, no two. No, a mask plus a plastic visor. No, a mask plus a plastic visor plus 3 shots. It's constantly changing, and none of this is adding up. You know? Again, you guys, we need to start thinking for ourselves. We need to question authority, and we need to take back this country from the psychopaths who are ruling over us.